Hey, what's up you guys? It's Clarissa. I'm back with another video, and today I'm gonna try to limit it to 5 tips that I think are the most helpful for people that have just been diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So the very first thing that I feel like you need to do after you've been diagnosed is go out and buy these wonderful books from Isabella Wentz, Dr. Isabella Wentz. She is wonderful. I feel like if you have a disease that you need to educate yourself on that disease as much as you can. So, I know not everybody is like a big science nerd, maybe doesn't want to know like as much information as I did, but if you are, or if you're like interested in what's going on in your body, then I would highly suggest this book. This was her first book. It is called Hashimoto's Thyroiditis: Lifestyle Interventions for Finding and Treating the Root Cause. So what she really talks about in this book is, that there has to be a perfect situation for you to develop Hashimoto's, and it's a combination of multiple things why you end up developing it, but you have to have basically like the perfect right scenario for it to go full blown and develop. And so what she really tries to do in this book is help you find what the root cause of your Hashimoto's is, because believe it or not, we all have one, and that is why you developed Hashimoto's. Everything else that was going on in your life and maybe things you were doing helped attribute to that, but there is a root cause. There is a reason for why it happened. So I would suggest this book. It is a great read. It's very fascinating. I would also suggest that you go out and buy her second book. This is Hashimoto's Protocol, a 90-day plan for reversing thyroid symptoms and getting your life back. So I'll be honest, I have not followed her protocol, and it's nothing against her. I think that it could be very helpful for other people, but I just had trouble with it a little bit. So I'm currently doing a different protocol, and I would definitely love to share that with you. But I feel like the stuff that she shares in this book is still very valuable, and maybe if you're more creative than I am in the kitchen, you would do a better job with this Hashimoto's protocol with hers than I did. But I tried it and it just didn't work out the best for me. But I still think that this is a fabulous read, and she's so fabulous. Definitely check her out. Check out her website, thyroidpharmacist.com, I believe is what it is. She's awesome. She's very helpful, very knowledgeable. So definitely check her out and check out her books. So the second thing that I would recommend that you do is cut out gluten, dairy, and soy. So this is hard, I know. My favorite food in the entire world is pizza. And when I was told that I needed to cut out gluten, I was like, I don't think so. I don't have a problem with gluten. I'm not cutting out gluten. I'm not cutting out dairy. I love cheese. No, I'm not gonna do that. And the thing is that even if you get a food sensitivity test done and you are not sensitive to gluten, gluten proteins still look very similar to thyroid proteins in the body. So what ends up happening is your immune system recognizes the gluten proteins as the thyroid proteins, and further launches an attack on your thyroid. So I would suggest cutting it out of your diet for the time being, while you work on healing your gut. So I know it's a hard one because gluten is in everything. Wheat is in everything. It's in things you wouldn't even think of. One of the biggest things that I had to come to terms with, and that is that it is in most salad dressings, conventional sold dipping sauces and dressings and things like that, and it sucks, I know, but it will benefit you. I have not felt like 1,000% better by being off gluten, but I do feel like a little less foggy mentally than I did while I was eating a lot of gluten. And it's hard, guys. Like, I get it. It's really hard. I'm gonna make another video about like diet and like falling off the wagon, because it's happened to me, and having to get back on. So just like really consider it. And I know I heard it everywhere and I didn't want to listen to it, but it's really important that you get off. Same thing with dairy. I love dairy. I love cheese, okay? Like, I'm sorry if you're vegan and you're watching this, but I love cheese. I can go without milk. I can go without yogurt, but I love cheese. And I feel like vegans can actually relate to me on this, like, that they like cheese too, and that's why it can be hard to transition at first to being vegan. But anyways, I'm not vegan, but anyways, I love dairy, I love cheese, and I cut that out too. And it's hard because it's in a lot of things too, and you're cutting out like the two biggest things in the American diet, gluten and dairy, and it's hard. And then I'm asking you to cut out soy also, which is really hard too, because it's in a lot of stuff. Sorry there. It's in a lot of stuff too, and you know, it's hard. But soy is a big one because it also interacts negatively with the thyroid. Like, I personally, I've had a food sensitivity testing done, and I am not like reactive to soy, but based on like the reading that I've done, which is why I told you to get Isabella Wentz's books, it is beneficial for you to cut out soy, because soy is mostly used in very heavily processed foods anyway, which is something that you really want to start cutting out of your diet, so that you can start to feel better. I will honestly tell you that diet is a big part of this. It is a big part of this, guys, okay? Like, I know nobody wants to hear that, but it's true. You know, the better you eat, the more crap you cut out of your diet, the better off you're gonna be. And that's hard to hear, because like I said, I love pizza, I love like mozzarella sticks, I love all this bad fattening, terrible food, and it's hard, but you need to do it right now for your health, okay? Like, then maybe one day you can eat those things in moderation, but today is not that day. You need to do this so you can get better. So the third thing that I recommend is, if you're able to afford to get a food sensitivity test done. So my doctor recommended that I do this, just because like it will tell you like what you're sensitive to, not necessarily like just what you're allergic to. So people kind of get those things confused. Like, just because you're gluten sensitive doesn't mean you have celiac disease, and doesn't mean that you are allergic to it. This is just like testing what you're sensitive to. So once you put those proteins in your body, how your body responds to them. And basically, I believe this has to do with IgG antibodies. So it's like, that's an immune level reaction is what we're looking at when we look at food sensitivities. Your girl has a lot of them. I should probably even count them for you, but I won't, because it's a lot. And the reason why this is important is because then you can look at things to avoid in your diet, and then they kind of like lay out different things that you are able to eat, and like a rotation diet, so that you can hopefully like become non-sensitive to these things again and like add them back into your diet slowly. That's kind of what the goal of this testing is. It's really like interesting information. And again, I wasn't able to follow this because I'm not creative when it comes to cooking. I don't like to cook still, but I do it more now because I have to. But anyways, this could be very useful for somebody that's like really creative in the kitchen and like really good about creating their own meals. They just kind of need an idea as to what they should eat and what they shouldn't. But also so I'm just gonna show you. These are all the things that I am sensitive to. All the things in red, you can see that. Like, at the point in time when I got this done, which was almost a year ago, that is everything that I was sensitive to. It's a lot of freaking food, guys. But what this shows too is the level of leaky gut that you have. So I'll talk about it more in depth in another video, but leaky gut is basically the final link that is what, you know, causes autoimmune disease to occur. So Hippocrates said like thousands of years ago that all disease begins in the gut, and man was he freaking right, and man does it freaking suck. So yeah, I would suggest getting this done if you're able to. I know that it is expensive. It's an expensive test, and I know not everybody can afford it. But if you're able to, you know, definitely invest in it because it was worth the investment. So my fourth tip to you guys is to really and if you get this book, the root cause book that I mentioned earlier, the Isabella Wentz root cause book, then it'll kind of like lay this out for you a little bit better and explain it a little bit better than I may be able to right this second. But basically, like, I think that it's important that you start thinking back to like the beginning of your symptoms. So like, I'm gonna make another video about it, but for me, I feel like my symptoms really started when I was a freshman in college. And for somebody else, it could be like when they were 13, 14 years old. But I feel like it's a good idea to map out your health history and figure out maybe when things started to like go downhill for you, because that can kind of help you like figure out maybe what the root cause of your issue is, of your Hashimoto's is. And there are like tons of different areas that your root cause can come from. But yeah, I would definitely recommend doing that because I found it really helpful, and I feel like I found out, you know, like what my biggest issues were, and it's kind of it's really, I'm not gonna say kind of, it is really helping me with my healing process right now. So definitely, you know, think back and, you know, really try to dig into your health history a little bit. And so the final thing that I would recommend that you do if you've just got diagnosed with Hashimoto's is to de-stress as much as you can. I know that's hard. I am the queen of stressing out, okay? Like, I stressed out in nursing school. I stressed out about a lot of things going on in my life, and the reason why I say this is because in all of the research that I've done, and all of the reading that I've done, and I've done a lot of reading, guys, I've done a lot of research, okay? Autoimmune disease, or the outbreak of some sort of disease that happens within the body, which typically autoimmune, occurs after a significant period of stress. So like if you got a divorce and you all of a sudden have Hashimoto's, or your, you know, spouse died, or your parent died, or, you know, something traumatic happened to you, that point of stress could be what triggered your Hashimoto's to develop. And that's because of what happens to the immune system when stress takes over the body. So essentially what happens is your immune system goes into like an autopilot. It just does what it wants to do and won't really listen to the rest of the body, and your cortisol levels are all over the place, usually spiked really high for long periods of time. And that's something you don't want, because cortisol ends up fucking with your immune system in a negative way. They kind of butt heads when they're going at it together, and it ends up impacting you negatively. So like, notice how like when you get stressed out, you're more likely to get sick. It's kind of because your immune system, the functioning of it plummets because it's not really functioning at its highest capability, and you're stressed out because your cortisol is all the way up here, your immune response is all the way down here. So really try to cut stress out of your life. It's really important. I know it's hard to do, but if you're able to like take time off of work, do it. If you're able to go on a vacation, do it. If you're able to, you know, meditate or find something that, you know, really is good for you at your heart and soul, is good for you and your heart and soul, then like do that. You know, some people like to do yoga, some people like to take walks, some people like to do this or that. I really do like mindful journaling. And one thing that I try to do is I try to keep a a journal of like things that I'm grateful for. So when I wake up in the morning, I will say like what I'm grateful for, and I will try to like write down things that I'm grateful for, so that if I'm like getting stressed out during the day, or I like kind of lose sight of everything else around me, I can go back and like look at what I wrote down and, you know, remind myself like I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for that, like I'm fortunate, I'm lucky. And you know, there are things that you are grateful for too, even if they're very small, because you can't think of a lot of things right now. It helps to like really even pick the small things, because then it really lets you realize that you have a lot more to be grateful for and that you are grateful for. So anyways, I'm going to try to end this video here. I hope that these tips have been helpful for you. If you would like any additional tips, please let me know. I'm willing to make another video, maybe one that's a little bit more extensive too, about things that I've done and, you know, tried throughout this process. I will probably try to make a video about like the hair loss journey that's happened here, because if I didn't mention in my last video, I am still losing my hair, and that's something that I'm still trying to figure out and like combat. And then I have started like a new diet, and I really am hoping that this works for me. And if it does, then I will, you know, do a more in-depth review of it for you guys, and then hopefully it's something you could try too. And hopefully it will help you, because I'm starting to feel a lot better already, and I'm hoping that once this is all said and done, that I will really feel the effects of it. So anyways, thanks so much you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you guys again soon. Thanks, bye.